Alright, today we're going to build around the Chihuahua, which is a tier 1 pet, and there aren't too many tier 1s that you can build around, but Chihuahua is definitely one of them. So here on turn 3, I end up getting 2 of them. Quick level 1 frog swap to move the Sphinx stats onto the Chihuahua, and we've got a good platform to build this team. So what kind of team are we actually going to build? Well, I'm not going to reveal that right now. We'll see it later on. But I just kind of want to talk about Chihuahua in general. In fact, I guess if you haven't played the original version of Star Pack, you might not be aware that Seahorse was originally tier 1. It has a push ability much like the Chihuahua, but it would move the backmost unit. So generally it would counter teams like, that had Fly or Turkey or Vulture and so on in the backline. And it was really very difficult to do anything about it. Obviously, if you're playing versus mode, you have much more control over, counterplay against these types of teams, because you can just see if your opponent has a Chihuahua or a Seahorse or any other kind of a push effect. But in an arena format, it just doesn't work like that. So, deliberately playing your Turkey or Vulture out of position in order to avoid getting countered by a push pet, it just doesn't happen. Now, they did eventually add Brussels Sprout to customs. So there is one item that defends against push, but very few people use it. And I really think there should be another one. But anyway, we're concentrating on the game as it is. And in the current version, I think Chihuahua is extremely strong for a tier 1. And there are a lot of things that you can do with it outside of just using the push pets. So generally when you see Chihuahua in one of my videos, it means I'm going to have Iguana, which will snipe a unit when it gets pushed, but we're not going to do that today. The other thing you can do is use Ibex, and because Chihuahua pushes the highest health unit, that means that the Ibex is automatically going to shrink down their biggest unit at the start of battle. Now, we're not going to use either of those pets today. We're going to do something a little bit more creative, but honestly, I don't think it's particularly difficult to come up with this idea. But I don't really see anyone using stuff like this very often. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Chihuahua to push the largest unit to the front. Now, it's not 100% guaranteed because the Chihuahua level 3 can only push 3 spaces. So if an opponent had their biggest unit in 5th position, it's not going to work. But very few people do that. I mean, it does happen, but it's just not that common. Probably going to end up losing here, yeah, just because we don't have anything in the Beluga. But very simple idea. I want to have the Chihuahua push their biggest unit to the front, and then I want to put a Scorpion inside the Beluga to instantly remove that unit. Now, what we're also going to do here is play Cali Greyhound with Mana Hound, both the hounds, and this is going to mean that the biggest unit ends up getting knocked out by the Scorpion. And then the Cali Greyhound Mana Hound combo is going to reduce the stats on the remaining units as we scrape a draw here because we get Hawk from the summon. So we just need to find a Scorpion. There we go. And I'm actually also going to put the Baguette on the Beluga for a little bit of extra equipment removal. Now, there are, of course, a few ways for this to be countered, but not really that many that would actually be common. We're still going to beat this team, even though the combo doesn't really do anything. But I think, yeah, we'll just take another summon on the Baycat. And hopefully this time we don't have our mana generating unit turned into something else by a Batfish. So yeah, teams like this are ones that will constantly get messed up by Chihuahua. You can see they ended up missing out on the mana from the rock because it was moved too far to the front. We actually get Blue Whale from the summon, but we're still going to lose. Kind of unfortunate there, but it is interesting to see that interaction where the Tasmanian Devil gets knocked out, but still applies the Spooked. And then here's the person that just plays snipes every day. And the Scorpion is going to instantly knock out the biggest unit again, but unfortunately we don't have anything left. So we really need to get some defensive equipment on the Chihuahua, or maybe just increase its stats a bit. We don't need to go for the level up on the Beluga, but yeah, definitely take the lemon. And here we go. This is how it works. You know, melon gets removed. You need the baguette because they could have okra, which would block the Beluga from removing the equipment, and the one attack Scorpion wouldn't be able to get the knockout. Maybe I am going to take the level up after all. Yeah, style points for the level 2 for the level 2 Scorpion. And here's another one that gets destroyed by the push. The biggest unit was the Orca, so they ended up missing out on a bunch of summons here. I think the summon combo here would have probably beaten us if we hadn't ruined their order there. So I guess level 3 Baycat is the only thing to do here. And we need to roll every turn to make sure that the Cali Greyhound has some mana. And here's the perfect opponent here, where they've got the plus 50 health Giant Tortoise. And then these other 2 big units get ruined by the Cali Greyhound. So that's exactly how I wanted it to work. And we're just going to go for level 3 Cali. We do get it, but we'll wait till next turn, because otherwise we won't have any mana. This is actually a rare instance where the baguette setup doesn't work, because they don't have a perk, they have an ailment. So incredibly unfortunate here that we ended up losing to that team. There's another chocolate, so that will give us the Cali level 3 if we survive another turn. Yeah, Sumatran Tiger doesn't quite knock anything out there, but 2 massive tier 1s that are fully scaled up. The Cali Greyhound takes care of them. And then hopefully we should do enough damage here with the summons to knock out the Retriever. Yeah. Level 3 Baycat with popcorns is so much fun. And we'll take another baguette, just to increase the effectiveness of those potential Lynx and Hawk snipes. And then look at this. A Badger has an unfortunate accident, and then a Reindeer behind a Badger also has an unfortunate accident. Triple Moby Dick on that team as well. Just a 1 in a million opponent, and even luckier to get it as the final battle. So let's have a look at some other runs. We're going to skip to near the end of these ones, just to try and fit this all in one video. Massive stats on this team, which is exactly what we want to see. Sometimes teams will just have too many stats for a squad like this to deal with. But in this case, we're fine with the Chihuahua as our only big unit. I guess the Mana Hound does have a decent amount of health here. Yeah, okay, we don't find the level up on the Baycat. I think this is exactly the same lineup as the previous turn. And then here again, the Chihuahua completely ruins this team, moves the Minotaur forwards. And then they actually have the level 3 smaller slug and the smallest slug in the back. So everyone with the token pets today. So just want to level up. Mana Hound is different to the way it used to be. You used to be able to just roll an unlimited number of times with it, I think. But now it gives more mana per roll, but it has a cap. And then this opponent here, you can actually see one of the counters. So clearly the Beluga got knocked out. We didn't get to see the baguette go off, but we still win anyway. Am I going to take Mana Hound here? Definitely should not be doing that on 9 wins. Although I guess there's an argument to be made that we would probably expect to lose the next couple of turns. So maybe it does make sense to actually do that. And then here they have a small one. Kind of an unusual team. Not exactly sure what the point of the small one was there. And I think it's going to end up being a tie, even though that was an absolutely massive squad. I don't think they had any actual synergy there with the hooded seal, but maybe it was the result of a transformation. So just crossing our fingers for another opponent that we could beat. And then look, this is another bizarre team. They've got whale at the front. I feel like that must be a trout that got transformed into a whale or something to that effect. Pretty unusual to see. Yeah, it must have been something in the water this day that I was facing all these odd teams. I mean, to be fair, in the later turns, like turn, 19 onwards, you do tend to face more strange-looking squads, but I really wasn't expecting that one. So then, this one is almost exactly the same lineup. The only difference is we have the stork instead of Baycat. Yeah, I think the lemon does good stuff here. And then we win with the scorpion spawn from the stork. How fitting. It's only level 1 stork as well. Okay, we get the scorpion with the baguette, so the combo set up exactly as we want it. Whale shark gets pulled to the front. Whale shark, the natural prey of the scorpion. And then the velociraptor combo did it get disrupted there because of the baguette? I didn't really notice. But it takes us to 9. And it's turn 14, so we don't necessarily need a super strong team here to actually win. Would have been nice to get a level 2 stork there, but not going to be. And again, the biggest unit is moved out of position. And then they have the butterfly to copy our biggest unit, but then we take the health away with the Kali. And the stork summon doesn't even really matter. It's a win. In fact, it's actually a perfect game. So yeah, pretty strong combo that I don't really see anyone play. Obviously it's not completely unbeatable, but I think probably stronger than the majority of combos I would play on this channel.